everybody. Hope that you're all having a good PAX out there. Welcome to Game Designer Breakdown here, or Design Club Live. There we go. Sorry, I'm on Tokyo time, San Diego time, and East Coast time all at the same time, having done a lot of travel.
That's a lot of time, Jeff.
Yeah, time, as you say, is a relative thing. But hi, I'm Jeffrey Zatkin. I'm a game designer. I'm going to be one of the people on stage. We're going to be playing a game that none of us, except for Matt here, has played before, and all bringing our different design analysis to it, and telling you kind of what each of our expertise we expect to see from the game, having never played it. And this is hopefully going to be very entertaining, but we shall find out. But anyway, I'm Jeffrey Zatkin. I've been a game designer for almost 25 years now. My first commercial game was EverQuest, and I've done a lot of games since then. I've also run a data analysis company, and currently I'm the studio director of Extra Credits and work alongside a couple of these fine folks. And over here is...
Hi, I'm Jason Sklar. 22 years in the industry. I started actually watching people play games that they'd never played before, classic usability on Xbox and PC games. Since then, I've done a bunch of game production and usability, user research, user experience work, and right now, UX is Fine, my company that I co-founded with two of the most awesome people, Neil and Dave. We work with a lot of the biggest publishers and developers to help them make their games more fun and appealing.
And not frustrate you as you play.
Reducing the suck factor, important.
Right. Hi, everyone. My name is Matt, pronouns he, him. I'm the showrunner and narrator of Extra Credits. I will be piloting today. I have played Metroid Dread to the point of 9%, so I am an expert at all of this. Also, thank you.
That's 9% gets applause. If I said 10%, would we get like a standing ovation? Like,
right, yeah, 11 or 12.
Golf clap.
And I have an idea that I'm not sure if this is going to work. We're going to try it out, is as we're playing through, every time I die, we'll give away a prize. We'll see how it goes.
I just like, elbow to you. Yeah.
Hey, Matt, should we do the D20 method?
If you'd like to. Let's go down the line and keep trucking along. Kat?
Hello, I'm Kat. I am the social media director of Extra Credits. I also demo and playtest games in the tabletop industry, as well as show game companies how to better market their game for all of you lovely people out there. So.
Cool. And hi, I'm Will. I'm the full-time Twitch streamer, Twitch overlord for Extra Credits, and I play a lot of video games. Our channel focuses a lot on design and playing things through unspoiled, and I play a lot of indie games, and one of my particular areas of interest is helping make games more streamable.
Yeah. Awesome. So, Matt, why don't you boot up a game?
All right, so it's going to be Ring Fit Adventure. Is everyone ready?
Yeah.
Matt, but we're not playing Elden Ring.
Oh, yeah, well, one day.
I've been waiting to play this one on Game Pass, so when it came out on Game Pass.
We'd give out too many prizes with Elden Ring.
Yeah.
That's all I have to say, okay?
And I think, make sure you lean into the mic so you don't sound muffled as we're talking.
Okay.
Plus, we'll all have really deep voices.
My voice is not deep at all.
So how many people in the audience right now has played this more than 9%? Okay, awesome. I feel great about this.
Yeah.
We have experts.
So, okay, Matt, so rules up here are you're going to play through till one of us says, hey, wait, can you kind of pause there? And we're going to give a look on what we see.
Yep.
But right from the beginning, as a designer, run interesting thing. Title screen, single button. Usability, how's that going?
This is awesome. The first time I played Katamari Damacy, I actually thought my PS2 controller was broken because I couldn't press the A button to start. You needed to take the thumbsticks to start it, and I can't even remember the dance you need to do. I literally replaced the controller like 3 times before I figured it out. So A button, right on the screen, hammer it down. I'm pro.
Cool, let's do it.
All right. Oh, 10%. 10%.
Yeah. All right.
That's our show, everybody. Now, what do we think about this right up top?
Okay, so what we're looking at here is we have unlockable modes for difficulty. Were you allowed to play normal mode the first time you played it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So they're I wonder how far you have to get into hard mode, but they're basically doing a gating mechanism where They are looking to make sure that the difficulty is not overwhelming to people. This is a trick we see on a lot of games. There's a controversy in some cases of, do you let people jump in and play a harder game off the bat or not? So this is a choice.
Also, I believe that and actually people above 10% of the audience can correct me if I'm wrong, I believe Dread Mode and Rookie Mode were added in later. Yeah,
Newer?
so that was,
Okay.
those weren't even available at
Was that Beautiful Joe had the sort of same thing like many years ago where like you had to go through the hardest core mode before you could unlock
Yeah.
easy mode or something
Yeah.
like that.
All right, we're
And
doing
the-
normal.
Yeah,
I want
and
to
the
give away.
communication about rookie mode versus easy or story or the infamous like old school like baby mode.
Oh, the
Yeah.
Doom rating system?
Yeah.
The Doom rating system.
We learned quickly in usability studies that was not a really
Yeah.
inviting way to
Yeah, that
introduce people to a
doesn't-
game.
You're
Right.
telling me people don't want to be insulted to play a game mode?
What?
That's weird.
No
We
way.
had, on Amped, we had a comment if you fell and really were doing terrible at the game. It says, go back to the Bunny Hill. And I'd be like, I would love to play Bunny Hill mode, but there is no Bunny Hill mode.
I want a bunny hill mode.
We'll do normal.
So the music's a lot darker than I remember for any of the other Metroids.
Oh yeah, get ready.
Oh.
Oh, really? Okay.
Okay. Wall of text.
Wall of text in the beginning.
No
Unvoiced.
voiceover.
But why?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
All right.
I would normally have skipped.
I was
Right,
gonna
like,
say,
yeah.
time
Most
ago.
people do, especially like younger people. They skip through these things real fast.
Well, and as a streamer, we often get like this wall of text is like, okay, I thought I was going to jump right in and play the tutorial, but now I feel obligated to read all of this. Like I'm actually restraining myself from reading a gelatinous parasitic organism indigenous to the planet and just going on, right?
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Recaps.
Cool.
Okay.
Okay.
That was the first one I played, I think.
So, is this sensible if you've never played a Metroid game before?
I think that's really important because I personally have never played the first Metroid game. So, like, for me, I'm like, oh, stuff's happening, I think.
Right. Okay. So stuff
Stuff.
with goo.
Yes. Nobody,
Golden goo.
nobody likes goo.
No.
Yeah. Not space goo.
A
No.
lot of exposition. Although I do appreciate the small sprite of the Metroid up top as a nice nod. Okay.
We also got an eye in there, so this is first person as opposed to telling the story of
Right,
somebody
so
else.
this is Samus.
Interesting.
Yeah. Okay.
Vaccine, blah, 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 research, blah, blah, blah.
Was this a Japanese development company who did this?
Isn't it?
Who's the dev for this one? Okay. Japanese companies are famous for half an hour of intro before
Well-
you get to the actual story. in a lot
Yeah.
of
Don't
cases.
tell them that. Then they'll know
It's
that that's
dope.
how we padded the panel.
It's funny. I've started this game before and I've blocked all this out. I'm like, I don't like
Yeah.
when.
But that's
You don't
sort of an
remember any of it?
interesting effect too, which is they want to deliver it, but they know that there's probably a large chunk of the audience that won't retain it, right?
Yeah.
Unless you're like super invested in the lore of the game, right? So like Twitch chat, as many of you and those in Twitch chat will attest, is sort of a gibbering mouther hive mind that will simultaneously scream, read all of this and none of this is important, skip it. And so I think both of those feel like consequences of just throwing a wall of text at a player at the beginning of a game, right? Sometimes you want to read all of it, but sometimes I just want to pew pew.
So, and I could be wrong here, but this first bit about the Emmy, which is kind of the big bad different gameplay mechanic introduced into a Metroid game, is like the first piece of relevant information that's actually telling me something about the experience I'm about to have. Out of all, we've been through like 8 menus at this point.
Well, and like I was saying with younger people that are playing games where they actually go through these text walls and they actually will play an entire game and not know what is actually happening in the game because they just can't get past that part. And I wonder if they're doing this more because they're expecting an older generation of players to come and play this
Yeah.
game. And so they're mimicking maybe what they've seen before in that.
Interesting. I could write a book on why text sucks, but no one would read it.
What?
Oh yeah, I'm a dad.
That's an actual longer loading screen than I would think, too.
Well, it's the Switch.
It's the Switch,
It's the
yeah.
Switch, yeah.
Yeah.
And that
No
is-
background loading.
Yeah.
Oh,
that
that's
is,
right. By the way, if anybody's looking, we're actually this is what we just hooked up right in, so we are playing live. Man,
I am nauseous
Yeah.
already. Yeah.
We'll soon be entering CGR's atmosphere.
we should set a stopwatch for how long it takes to get to gameplay.
For Okami, I was in crunch mode on Rise of Legends, and I'd come home every night and try to play it. And I never got through to the actual playable part any night until the weekend. And I had to restart the whole thing because there was no save progress.
Oh my God.
I feel like I did that on Bayonetta.
So, yeah. You click too fast.
Oh, you can actually see Samus's eyes in there.
I know, right?
Oh, this game is beautiful. There's no question about that.
Because the first Metroid famously didn't let you know the gender of the character you were playing till the very end.
7, 6,
Getting the whole countdown.
So as we do this opening cutscene, I guess I'm going to interject a thing that I kind of want the audience to think about, which is, as a Twitch streamer, where do I sit in this game? Can I sit in this game? Do I need to put this game in 3/4, right? Have a border around it so that I'm not obscuring something important, right?
Right.
I can't sit in the middle. The subtitles for the game are there, and accessibility and subtitles are really important on Twitch. Lots of people watch Twitch with the sound off or very low, right? So it's really important to be thinking about that, and that's one of the first things that I'm going to be looking at as we gain control. Because I will only get that first couple moments if I want to call my playthrough like unspoiled to determine how I'm going to set up my overlays for the game.
Signal quality is likely to be low. Remote communication remains. Try to connect with the
So did Line on the Ground count as death match? Should we throw our first prize out?
No, I'm not dead yet.
I'm not dead yet.
Are you sure?
Really pining for the fjords. Oh, wait, that's a different one.
This looks incredibly cool, though. I mean, they did a fantastic job translating it to a newer genre here with everything being smoother. Like, it just looks beautiful.
Never having seen it, I'm still not sure whether I'm supposed to be expecting 2 or 3D,
Yeah.
right? Like intellectually,
Yeah.
I know it's 2D,
Yeah.
right? But that doesn't feel like what my expectations are being led to by the way that the cutscenes and everything else are presenting.
What is happening here? Why is he so angry?
Not enough dust kick up to make them feel in the world. I think they hid their boots a lot in the walking to cover that up.
So I have another pesky question. Why are we not doing this fight as a tutorial?
Yeah, that's...
It's a video game. Why am I being shown how awesome Samus is when I could be Samus and be that awesome?
Well, I feel like, I mean, there's two kind of lines of thought, right? One is going to be like, this is showing how it's, you know, Metroidvania-esque type thing, or in this case, a legitimate Metroid. So Samus isn't going to have all the powers that she had at the start of the last one. This is the way you get rid of them in the narrative, yada, yada, yada.
Okay.
That's kind of the old school way of thinking about it.
Okay.
The other way, though, would be to do what like Symphony of the Night did, where have you actually fight a bunch of people with all the powers and then get them stripped away. But I think they just decided to skip that.
Yep. Also, this saves the player from playing up to a forced loss, which many players don't like, right? The forced loss of, oh, I was totally beating that character, and then a cutscene happened when I got their health bar down, and now I'm bad.
You have control.
Can you do the jiggle back and forth?
You're so tiny.
Okay, so roughly 10 minutes in from when we started, we actually now have free movement on the game. Next time, we're going to have to pick a game to let us get in a little faster.
Well, I think
That's interesting.
Yes, but also it's kind of like, how does everyone in the audience sort of feel about that? Like when you get a game, especially something that's supposed to be like a Metroid game, are you down for this kind of like, and it's 10 minutes of exposition until you get into it? You are like, it's like some people
Okay,
like it,
so
some people dislike it.
some thumbs
Yeah,
up.
it's
Seen a lot of...
subjective.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
And it's one of those things where, like, I get consulted a bunch, like, how do we make these games from China or Japan more accessible and interesting to an audience of Americans? And they're like, well, how do we simplify them? I'm like, well, actually, you could simplify them, but there's a charm to these games that people expect, right? And just because it doesn't feel American, that's what people, they play American games, you know.
Real quick, Matt.
Yep.
So, okay, so what do we see here? We see that, Samus is jumping. We've seen Samus shooting. In the upper right, we're seeing a mini map, so we know that at some point navigation may become a thing.
Map.
Because otherwise they wouldn't bother showing us a map. If there's only one way you can ever go. In the upper left, we're seeing what looks like there's a limited ammunition supply, which is implying that there's some attack that Samus does, which is going to be limited. And I'm guessing that's a health underneath.
Yep.
Oh, we just saw you shoot a rocket. Okay, so we're limited on that. Having a health bar means that it's not a one-hit kill game, that there will be things that will hit you, and therefore you need a percent of health shown. So that's kind of some of the most obvious things that we're seeing here.
I like this.
Oh,
Okay,
so
so
we're teaching you how to crouch or slide.
And you have a mastery challenge before you can proceed. You have to know how to slide to get past that barrier. There's
Yep.
no like, hey, fun fact, you could slide here or you could do something else. You
Braid
must
did
know
a
how to
really nice
slide.
job of this. They started off a bunch of the text in the world, where if you knew it, you could just ignore the text, but you could just keep going because the controls are pretty standard.
And this is teaching you something too, right? Like normally you shoot a door and it opens. Well, this, if you get further in it, you know you need
Yeah.
the tri-beam or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's telling you exactly what to do because you can't hit this otherwise.
Yeah, what's the red thing on the ceiling?
That
Yeah.
goes boom, I believe.
Oh, there we go.
I'm super
Big-
curious about that health bar. I don't understand how it works.
So Matt, could you go back down to that ledge? And is it possible to make that jump without ledge grabbing? That one right there. That,
No.
Okay, so you have to know from this point forward. They've shown without telling you that ledge grabbing is a thing, right?
But more importantly, almost, is that you don't have to know it here, and you're not blocked by it. It's an optional part of the level. So you can either like discover it on your own because you know the controls, or like puzzled by it, or you can just.
I don't actually think it is optional. I think you have,
Oh, you have to go up
because
there?
You can't open this door. This is the only way forward, so it's going to
yeah.
actually just teach you that, yep, oh, you can grab and pull up.
Okay.
cool.
And then slidey slide.
Okay.
So basically, yeah, we're reinforcing a couple of things here.
Oh, yep. Second thing here, these will, I think they respond to if you wait too long. What do you do here? It's kind of, I really do like the progression this actually does. If we learn right here, okay, you grab, pull up.
Yeah,
What do you do here? Boom. It feels sort of like intuitive if you've played anything like this before, but at the same time, get out of here.
And they don't tell you while ledge grabbing you can free aim. It just forces you to understand that while ledge grabbing you can free aim.
And I also noticed that when you shot the thing, the little floating thing that came down refilled your rocket. So part of what they're saying is kill enemies to refuel special weapon, and it's going to be plentiful.
There's no sound effect, or was there a sound effect on that?
It was very minimal.
Very little.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sound would have helped there.
Okay.
Ammo
Okay, that's a
refill.
Okay.
I believe these are color coded as well. So like you get back rockets from the red ones. You get, I think purple is the energy.
Yeah, Twitch chat mentioned helpfully, as they are wont to do, that there are an awful lot of glowy things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Imagine Twitch chat being attracted to something shiny. What? The whole
crazy.
idea of pulsing lights and like the flickering, the irregular flickering there of the pad, all feels like a very interesting way to like just naturally draw your eye without words.
Why didn't that happen the
Yeah,
first
what did that
time
do?
with
It was
like
full.
thing? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm like, because that was really cool. That was a nice change up from this.
One of the other things we're seeing here too is the color palette of the environment is desaturated in a lot of cases. They're using lights for progression and to show paths to go. So the art palette was very purposefully picked there to help guide you through the environment. Where you can see when we're going into the cutscene, they've switched to a whole different color palette here because they no longer need to mute the background.
Uploading data.
Yeah, so many progression studies that I've done in the usability lab were just simple lighting, or
You've accessed
also
network station.
putting an interesting
Well done,
artifact in there that will
Samus.
distract
I have
you,
reviewed your
Yeah.
vital
and you'll try to
signs
interact with it, but
video
you
log
can't.
from the data you uploaded. I've run a full analysis, but I cannot account for why you lost consciousness. My readings indicate dramatic physical changes in you. Whatever caused these changes seems to have stripped you of most abilities. You might call it physical amnesia.
Okay, so explaining why you're not
Okay.
as badass as you were before.
I am checking the Federation.
You might call it a
database
MacGuffin.
against your video log. It appears to have been a Chozo. The attacker's identity is not yet clear.
I feel like Twitch chat immediately would call every ability loss in every game forever physical amnesia from then on out. Like, that's just the meme. That's it.
It's just physical, you know what, I can't do the dishes anymore. It's physical amnesia.
Will, you beat this boss last week. Physical amnesia, sorry.
Can't do it.
You're broaching the subject of aspiration, like how do I know how cool I'm going to get at some point? And there's this like give everything and then take it all away mentality, which I consider, no offense to the developers because a lot of them do this, kind of a lazy way to approach it. It feels like there should be better ways to let people know they're going to get cooler without like making them cool and then taking it all away.
Well, it's kind of like what we experienced at the beginning, right? Like that's the two lines of how you want to do this in the Castlevania way. You actually get to play with it, see all the stuff, get it stripped away from you. We got our stuff taken away in a cutscene, which then, if you're the first time playing this game, you're not getting the experience of seeing that. So that's the up-down of that, I think.
Low temperature. Your Metroid DNA renders you vulnerable to such environments.
Don't get hot or
There
cold.
are many such cold areas scattered underground. Do not enter them with your basic power suit. One final thing. Underground interference is preventing radio transmissions. Check in with me at any network stations you find.
This game has a lot more exposition than I'm used to for this style of game.
But I really like, I don't know, I really like this. I kind of wish we got most of the exposition quickly from one of these little computers in the beginning.
Sure.
Like, just because, I don't know, it tells you about the environments. Don't go anywhere too hot or too cold. Don't jump in lava. Like,
But
Yeah.
from psychological research, we know there's the primacy and recency effect. So you might remember the first thing, you might remember the last thing, but everything in the middle, gone forever.
Oh, interesting. I would have completely missed that slide there.
oh, really?
It was so close to the edge. Melee.
Oh, this thing.
Oh, you have QTEs. Everyone
Kinda.
loves QTEs, right? Just love them.
Here's a question. People who have played this game, how many of you actively used the melee a bunch? About maybe like 40%?
How many of you don't? So we can...
Yeah.
Did anyone
Yeah.
not?
Joe.
Just
Okay.
what? Yeah.
Okay.
I keep finding myself forgetting about it. I'm glad people aren't.
Well, you have a gun for an arm. Why would you also punch, right? Like,
You don't want them to come close.
It is
to you.
cool
Like,
looking.
generally keep them
okay,
away.
so
yeah.
I kind of think, wait, did you just do like a flippy kick thing? Flippy kick thing?
But you do kind of a flippy
okay.
punch like that.
Oh,
So
okay.
that feels super, to me at least, as someone who is not the biggest fan of, follower, I guess. I like Metroids, I just don't follow them. That feels, to me, like a big nod to Smash. Because all
yeah.
of those moves feel very much like they're, oh, you've played Samus in Smash,
Yeah.
obviously. Now you have this nod to that series.
Also, the game hasn't taught me yet that I can wall jump, but I just sort of learned it based on the lighting.
Okay.
Like, I just tried it.
Yeah, you notice they're lighting very there's defining areas with that. The other thing is when you got hit by the bird, your health went down. When you killed it, you got health back. So I see it's at 79. You just picked up something, you're at 89. So this is also telling us it's not a survival horror game. Like, you're already back at full health.
Oh, you just wait, Jeff.
Okay. Well, I'm basing what I see
Yeah.
right now. What I'm seeing is very plentiful health replenishment.
Yep. And then my other streamer moment is the game is officially in a 3/4 window with chat on one side, me on the other, and all my alerts across the bottom. That's not uncommon for Nintendo games because they really want to make the most of the Switch's limited real estate and handheld mode, right? You can't have a big old blank spot where you can't have a HUD, right, in handheld mode. It doesn't really make sense there. It is kind of unfortunate, but the thing that sealed it for me was the text for that cutscene with the computer runs all the way across the bottom. So if I'm there, I'm either going to have to duck out of the way or take myself out every time there's a cutscene. And it's important for me to have a physical presence on the stream so that people can see me.
Also, the game and its progression so far seems incredibly slow. Is that just kind of me, or do you also feel like this? I mean, it's not a super exciting thing to play. It's like, all right, we're kind of just discovering things, we're finding things out. But again, I think a younger generation is looking for that excitement right away. And I don't know if this does it for for that.
What about like air guitar? Does that do it for you?
Well, everybody loves air guitar, okay?
We've also seen your first progression. You just got an increase in the capacity of missiles you could hold.
So I just got thrown
Huzzah.
right into a thing
is
that I
this?
cannot get out of.
Oh, you got to go down the thing and charge the cutscene up. You must.
I actually like the slow progression for the style of what this game is. Like, again, it's being called Metroid Dread. Like, it's building up to something which is very close.
Ooh. It brings back the feel of Ninja Blade, a not hugely played game, but
Well, I think with something like Metroid and
I
just
skipped it.
in general, you're trying to get an older group of players to get the nostalgia, and you want it to be a certain way so that you bring in the older players and you make them happy with their nostalgia. And then you're also trying to open this up to a whole brand new group of players so you can continue this line. And I don't know how well that they've done with drawing that line with creating new things that are exciting for younger players, as well as giving the older players what they want with that nostalgia of the game, because this very much looks like the older game, you know, as far as like the stylized portion of it.
that's a QTE without.
Oh.
This is the thing. And I know this, and I was moving because just the game was
Yeah.
marching forward. A lot of you in the audience know this too. The Emmy you can't kill naturally, and you have to get around it before you can actually do anything. And this is basically teaching you through, I believe, either letting you know in the text below or just straight up failure. I did die though.
Yeah.
And that means giveaway time, right? Oh, we get to give something.
Alright.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, yay, Matt died! Yay!
Hold up the die hand.
I got a D20. We're going to count 20 rows over, basically, and then 20 rows back based on where the die lands.
All right, you got this. You
Let's-
call it out.
And 14.
Do the counting. I'll go do this.
Yeah, and while he's counting, I feel like we've just sort of subtly changed the genre of the game a little.
Yeah.
Right?
Whoever has the white armband on back, yeah, looking behind, never mind, it was the way the light was hitting you. Kat, we want to give that gentleman back, want to wave a second? Yeah, the one who just turned their head. Yeah. We'll get you a prize later.
Yeah.
Come and see us after.
Yeah. So we're in the wrong genre, right? I don't expect in most action games that the first enemy is going to be a big scary monster I can't
Oh, God.
kill. Maybe
Yeah.
maybe you all do, but this feels like horror. The music, the tone,
Yeah.
this camera shot. This feels like horror. This feels like they're setting a new expectation for how I'm going to interact with enemies.
Yeah, and this is setting up, I believe, an instant, like, this is not an easy thing to do continually. This is setting up, just like, you do it right away. It gives you that moment of breathing. You can slide right under. That's what that message obviously is. And
Interesting. They've decided that like the God of War method of giving you a little icon in the world needs to be improved on.
Yeah. And it is. They've completely changed the music. They've changed the tone, which is really interesting. I'm kind of curious that they actually started with one tone and switched to another this quickly in.
I think they want you to know that, like, and as you sort of learn as you go through, these are omnipresent sort of enemies throughout certain sections that you'll learn.
There's also the aspirational thing. You've spent a lot of money on developing a ton of content, and you want the player to know that there's a lot more than what you're seeing right now, so that they realize that like it's worth continuing on to discover it.
So I'm actually very interested in this moment here too, because you
Yeah.
come in, you touch the brain, which I don't. The first time I registered this, because later on you notice that they keep being brains. You get the energy from it, and it turns your arm cannon into the Omega cannon. I feel like I, for whatever reason, didn't remember this and had to play through this moment a couple different times and figure it out. But like this is much more clear than I remember it the first time.
So is that a separate thing than the rocket, or did it change your rocket
So
arm?
this is a thing that is specifically designed to, this is sort of, I think, the game's tutorial of teaching you how to eventually take out the Emmy. Because I think you basically go through and you get either to different areas or you beat a certain boss, you get the Omega Cannon, you can go back and you can destroy the Emmy who hunts you in certain spots.
Okay.
Target nearby, face that direction.
I mean, talking about aspirational, right? Our first upgrade is the Omega Cannon, right? It's not like the charge shot. It's not the power ball. It's the Omega cannon, right?
What's that dance you have to do with your fingers and thumb? It's left trigger, left thumbstick, and right
Yeah,
trigger?
like,
Okay. Oh, wait, and Y while still holding? Oh my gosh.
and I will forget.
So that was 4 buttons to do that trick?
Yep. It's the Omega cannon.
Oh, okay. Got it.
Oh, what? All right. New prize.
What happened?
I walked through the door.
What happened?
You fool.
Two,
It's always doors.
You just walked through a door.
2 and a 19.
We have that weakness in common with every D&D party ever,
Yeah.
as I'm sure the audience is well aware.
Yeah.
Dragons, liches, doors, the great enemies of D&D.
Second row lady with the pink jacket. Your prize number 2. D20s are good that way.
All right. I won't just run forward because I think it's going to be right here.
Ooh,
Oh, okay.
take that.
And that's the only way you can take these things out.
That
No.
felt very Omega.
Now, are they going to take that weapon away from you, or do you now
Yes.
have it? Okay.
Oh, what?
This is a Metroid game. Come on.
Ooh. So it's a puzzle fight.
Yep, okay, and they're telling you. Okay, so you
Okay.
basically, you got one shot.
Yep.
Can't miss your chance.
If it doesn't go away if you like miss, if I remember correctly. It's just once it's complete, you are done.
What kind of game logic is that? Unlimited shots until you, well,
I mean,
never mind.
I don't mind it.
Yeah,
I love the broken doors. That little door, like the other doors are just open nice and quick. This one was like, and like it just feels more lived in than just a generalized.
Does it always do that for that door,
No.
or is it randomized?
Well, actually, I don't know if it's randomized. I don't know, but that door, like I think actually is just now open. All right. I can't go. Oh, so yeah, this was something that I was like, I always expect I can just be the ball instantly. You can't. So you can't get back in there.
Okay, so you're back where you went in the other side. Okay.
So if I look at the map, I'm going into new spots now because I
Okay.
can't actively go back this direction. Not that I really want to.
Did
That
they
map
color
is-
code that? Was that grayed out to specifically show you can't go back to that area?
Let's go double check that real quick. I will save it broken.
Always save.
What do we just get?
Matt's going to be holed up in his hotel room between this
Yeah.
panel and our next panel playing Metroid Dread
Yes.
because he's got the itch now. We're going to be like, Matt, we're going to go do stuff. We want to play D&D. He's like, no. Beat
My
Metroid Dread. Must get better than 10%. You can always come back at Extra Breakfast and ask us how far is Matt in Metroid Dread now.
Oh, that was
Water
fun. Okay.
effects. Yeah.
Okay, so we've just learned that water is, A, water exists, and B, water can be moved.
And
between
you
areas.
can't slide when
Yeah.
there's water.
Oh, so that just kept you from going back. Interesting, okay.
I really like the sort of gating mechanics that they do. Welcome to another Emmy room. Population, someone gets a prize.
I do really like that they differentiate using the doors, too. That's a pretty good staple of Metroids since forever.
Well, listen to the music there and look at the color that they just did with that. They're setting you up completely for something's about to come out and do something
Did that open
scary.
up a huge room then?
Yeah, and I think
Okay.
that's the. Oh, I don't actually. Central unit.
That's a friend.
Yeah. Color palette
heard
and
they're
sound. When I worked on Crimson Skies, it was very much exploration mode was blue and soft music.
Yep.
And then combat, red and angry. And you knew.
So these walls feel, later on you can start climbing them. You don't have the ability yet. So
Well,
there's some way.
spoilers, geez.
Well-
We haven't gotten there yet.
We only have so much time. Can you go?
It's interesting though, because they're bright. They're attracting your eye saying, I should be going that way.
Well, I feel like that's a Metroid thing too, the tease, because then it's aspirational as well. Like you trust it enough to know that even though you're stuck here, at some point you're going to come back and be able to do it.
Hello.
Like Zelda and this game both do that kind of thing well, I think.
So that's a pretty big escalation too. The first Emmy we saw was damage.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
Was Whoa.
That was cool.
Was all sparky and damaged and old, and this one is very much not, and also does not appear to have bones. So
Oh.
there's that.
I think this is now a race between me and the Emmy to get out of.
Run away.
And they've changed the music. The music is now runaway music.
Yep.
And we've got that red.
Yeah.
No,
You're in
no, can't do
danger.
that. Oh.
Oh, you're in danger. Oh no. Oh no. Run away.
The audience is cheering on the Emmy. It's fine. It's fine. We know you want the prize.
Oh.
Kick it!
Oh, man, right in the jimmies.
Okay.
I love that everybody claps whenever he
Yeah,
does that.
right.
That's
Well, I
awesome.
mean, it's like the sound of a club hitting the ground during a juggling performance, right? That sound means applaud the jugglers,
I
right?
think we have another D. We got another die. 4.
Okay, so let's see.
4 back.
Okay,
Rose
okay.
going back. Gentleman in the pinkish shirt back there, you're number 3, or prize 3.
There we go.
Yay. So do we? These are very quick redos. They're not quite like Super Meat Boy try again, but it does make it very clear that the price of failing one of these puzzles is death
Yeah.
immediately, right?
I like
and that's
that.
okay because the rerun is so short,
Yeah.
right? We're not even dealing with a.
But you can
Dark
also
Souls-
skip.
You can also skip this. And later on, when Emmys kill me quite a bit, they don't have a cutscene like this
Yeah.
the entire time. So, but I like this because it just pulls right back out. You're in it again,
Yeah, I like that as well.
Yeah.
and then it's a race.
And actually, I mean, they're putting you back to a great spot. They're putting you back to let's do the race again.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's not a save points, it's an auto save point system, but it's very nicely picked for where it goes.
Oh, yeah, no, I went the wrong way. Oh, no. Oh, no.
Oh, maybe he doesn't like water.
High.
Okay, there you go.
Oh.
Oh, wait, did that just make you, why, how did you get through?
So I think it's, I don't know why
Probably.
that time it did it. I think because the Emmy couldn't get me. Because it can't cross water. This I'm actually, I don't
What are they?
know.
The undead?
Right? I was
Yeah.
thinking that
I
too.
am the Emmy. I want to suck your
And
blood.
then it turns into Curse of Strahd.
No, Matt. We've talked about this. Every game is not Curse of Strahd.
You'd be surprised.
I want to see Neil Patrick Harris like dissecting one of those bug things because that's what it totally makes me think of.
Would
It's
you like to learn more?
afraid.
I'd like to meet Neil Patrick Harris just in general, but yeah.
All right, got a missile
Okay,
tank.
so we got another upgrade. I'm also looking at the monster bones here, so I'm guessing that we're going to meet something really large later.
Storytelling through world building as opposed to text is great when you can do it.
Hi, computer.
Uploading data.
Both Emmy you encountered were clearly trying to capture
So
you.
it's
They
interesting.
were not trying to capture. They were definitely killing.
Capture.
Yeah.
Emmy send out a pulse.
It's also interesting looking that they basically have two classes of enemy. Enemy that's really badass, and enemy that you're just, blowing through without even thinking about it. So at the moment, there's only two options. They aren't giving you a gradation of enemies like we see in a lot of other games like this. It's thing that's trivial for you or thing that you run from. So that is setting up more of a horror style game.
And it's compartmentalizing it. Like what Adam is teaching us here is that like, okay, just so you know, when you're in those rooms,
To survive,
run.
you must leave its
Yeah,
range.
and also
The enemy and it will disengage.
by reducing the number of variables in a set, like
Yeah.
not having you progress through a bunch of the sort of the chud folks, it helps you focus on some of the core
Yeah.
mechanics, and I'm sure they'll layer on the rock paper scissors as you go.
Estimate a 99% probability of death.
So you're saying there's a chance.
GLaDOS is making an appearance here.
So I don't care what Morpheus told you. When you see an agent, run.
The enemy are immune to your current weapons. You
Well, this
lack
is
the
Master
weapon
Control Program.
To defeat the first enemy, your only option now is to evade capture and find an exit. Your highest priority in an enemy zone should be simply to survive.
Boom, done.
That's always my highest
Yeah, I was gonna
priority.
say.
Yeah.
I'm with you, Kat.
Okay.
I also like the door sampler
Oh,
we
yeah.
get here,
So you
right?
can't do anything here.
Right. The door sampler is sort of a standby of all like 2D door-based exploration games, as it were, or like a gate sampler.
Can't go in there. I do love small things too. Like I love the grates just broken here. Like they're just background elements, but it just makes the world feel a little more.
Feel great.
Yeah. Feels great. Wow, Jeff.
Yeah.
Sorry, that one was really
You should roll a die for that.
For those on our Twitch channel, we
I'm
have
dead.
a pungeon, a place where we consign those guilty of the highest level of pun crime. It is currently inhabited by mostly copies of Jeff. So just take from that information what you will.
Have we seen a slope like that before?
A what?
I'm just looking at the slope to the left.
Not one. Well, we did when I fell down into the first Emmy room. There was
Okay.
like that tube.
I was just checking.
No, this is
run
different
up
than the
it.
tube because you're going to do a slide attack eventually with that, I'm assuming. Like getting all the Koopas or whatever on
Yeah.
Oh, then I can go out here. Wait, I'm just curious where. Ah.
Okay, so we are starting to get some of the, you've seen this here, they're doing the level teasing as well.
Can't go
It's
that way.
interesting from like an interface perspective. I mean, the health, even though you're getting, we're seeing it, the health comes back so quickly that the health bar almost seems irrelevant at this point in the game based on the kind of things that you encounter. The same with the missile count, in that,
Yeah.
there's been nothing useful to use missiles on yet, and we're, 20 plus minutes into the game.
Which is interesting because does it teach you not to care at all? And when things get hairy enough where missing out, like running out of missiles or health, like is a critical thing, are you going to actually look there to know that that's a problem?
No.
More with the running, more with the running. We're running out of prizes. Run faster, Matt.
You can go through doors. There's nowhere to go, boy.
This is fine for a given definition of fine.
They do a really good job of putting a frantic energy in. That's really nice.
Yeah, and like I haven't really seen. Oh, it's still tracking me. I didn't see any explodey walls before, at least in that way. That was like.
Oh,
Hi.
That's something new.
Yes.
Hi, friends.
Oh, sure, they're friends.
Oh, no.
Not friends. They are, in fact, food. This is also teaching you that fighting underwater is a thing you can do,
It's
right?
terrible.
Well, but before we walked in water, right? And one could reasonably assume that a person in a spacesuit could
Yeah.
exist in water, though there have been games that have done otherwise. So this is sort of forcing you to know that you can run and fight in the water, not just standing in it.
It's funny, the water was so subtle there that against the background gray, it took me a moment to realize you were underwater just because the color palette was so close
Yeah.
on that, or at least on this monitor that we're watching on. But yeah, I'm still curious the fact that there's been no good reason to use a rocket this far into the game.
Come here.
Like, Matt, do they like track or anything?
Do they? No, at least not right now. Go. Can I make this? No. So you must need the double jump or something along those.
Yeah.
I do like the surprise, though, of like having those little guys that we're going through and murderizing, and then getting to these big guys, and that music goes up. It like instantly makes your heart race, like you're in trouble. That's a really, really enjoyable thing with the game.
Yeah. And
'Cause,
I was like,
yeah, you're going into this lull and you're learning things, and all of a sudden it's like boom, all the way up to like level 10.
yeah.
Yeah, it's a clip waiting to happen,
Yeah.
too, right? As like we're looking for those like bite-sized minute, 30-second to a minute of like, oh, I remember
it's
my
Death
first
Pigeon.
Emmy. Watch Will panic. See him panic. That's good content.
Were you able to tag a location on that map and
You
then
can.
it somehow appears somewhere
So, like,
in the environment? Or
I don't know if it
whatever?
appears in the environment, but like you can have markers like,
Oh,
I
just
want to
for-
come back here
okay.
because I knew that once I get the suit that lets me jump underwater, I could.
Right, but it doesn't affect your mini map or
No,
anything.
no.
Okay.
But that's interesting. So this is one of those games then where you will be going through the same environment multiple times, and it's teaching you that by exposing you to things you can't get to yet.
Yeah. Classic.
And I love this too because like, okay, can't move forward. This changed the environment behind. Like I'll be able to now make progress by going backwards.
That's interesting. I almost expected it to be more blatant on that because that can be really frustrating to some people. I can't tell you the number of games I've seen where you get to that and you spend like, why can't I do it? And then you're like, oh, I have to go back and go around.
I have to go to YouTube. That's me. I'm old.
Man, that makes me old. Well,
Or I ask my kids.
there you go.
They'll figure it out in a minute.
Give me that map.
So it's interesting. This is completely not what I was expecting from previous Metroid games. Like, the tone is different. The fact that almost none of the weapons do anything, in their is different. The color palette's different, the music's different. It's taking an existing franchise and moving it into a whole new field, which is really kind of fun. I don't see that done a lot.
It's, I don't know, I really like it because it's still, even though it is doing new things, to me it does still feel like Metroid. Like, this is exactly sort of, even though right now we haven't gotten any, like, cool weapons or anything like that. Oh.
To me, this almost
Missile.
Oh, okay. Woo! Nice.
Never didn't have it.
Oh.
That's really cool. So, two fast things. One, I think it's really valuable there that the changing the water level forces you to go backwards because it cements in your idea that you're going to be retreading things,
Yeah.
right? So, while I'm sure many people in the audience have played a Metroidvania game of some kind, whether it's Hollow Knight or Ori or original Metroid or Castlevania or this or whatever, if you haven't, that cements that you will need to go back at some point later on. And I also want to draw attention to the mapping as being one of the more acceptable styles of Metroidvania mapping I've seen. It keeps track of where you've been, and the map is telling you where to go next, it feels like, rather than some other examples, again, like Hollow Knight, where it won't tell you anything about where you have been until you find an item. Right, which doesn't help for the part where you're lost trying to find Cornifer in Foggy Canyon, right? In Fog Canyon, where he's very difficult to find. This feels like a very good mid-ground between you can get lost, but also there is a reason to explore and find him.
What's the rating for this game in terms of,
ESRB?
pardon me?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the ESRB rating.
I actually do not know.
Because the one thing I'm noticing is that for such a like dark and foreboding game, there's no jibs on the organic stuff, and then there's no broken parts on the mechanical stuff. And
I bet it's a teen.
yeah, I don't know, but it's just it seems like a lot of the games where it's kind of horror based, you'll see a lot more of that gore. It's also when you're going like for an international market or whatever, like the standards are different and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
it is interesting to me.
So there's no way for me to get through this right now, correct? Because right now, it's funny, we were just talking about how easy the thing is. I am not entirely remembering where to go.
So the question is this frustrating or is it kind of, yeah, so what we did a lot in user research was we'd watch people play games and then we'd measure their attitudes as well, because as it turns out, getting stuck isn't always like frustrating. It's actually, that's part of the game.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's frustrating and sucks and you want to fix that.
Yeah.
I think someone in the audience is actually pointing the way you need to go, so if you want to just follow his hand signals.
Walking.
Thank you.
We appreciate that.
And Twitch chat has fired back, as they are so often want to do. This game is rated T.
Teen?
Yep.
Okay.
But a reminder for those aficionados in the audience that Final Fantasy XIV, including Stormblood, is rated T, so like take from that what you will.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Man, yeah, I said, it's interesting for me watching this, having seen some of the previous ones, but it almost reminds me of going from the movie Alien to Aliens, where they had a different,
Oh, yeah.
the same franchise, but it was very much a different tone between the two movies.
I can't move that. I can't climb that.
Hey, Kat, is there like a tabletop role-playing game or any kind of board game that's taken place in the Metroid universe?
That plays in the Metroid universe? Not that I know of. You have seen a few people who have tried creating what they're doing here in Metroid, where, they're going through, I can't remember, platformer games
Yeah.
in a board game space, but I don't think it translates well.
So I think that was the first time we were seeing that huge circle. I'm guessing that was the awareness radius of the thing facing you.
No. So did I actively raise all the water, or did it? Let's see. Let's go back down.
Are you activating that yellow circle thing?
No, that is it scanning me. Like it knows
Gotcha.
when I'm moving when it's in a certain radius.
Oh, so it's listening to you or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does that mean you can lead it into a
Is it
dangerous
like making
spot?
too much
So I
noise
think.
or
Oh, okay.
something?
I think you have to stay on this. Oh no, I guess I did it already. Okay, so that's
You're
locked down. Time to get out of here.
Dangerously close to prize time.
Yeah. Nope. Okay.
So then, for those people who have,
No, it's okay. It's
totally
okay.
fair.
It's okay.
Totally
He's got a chance.
I don't.
No.
For my demise.
All right, D20.
Okay, what's that?
4.
4 rows, okay, so let's see, 4 over, and how many rows back?
7.
I think that individual already has one because we rolled a 4 for the.
Let's do the person right in front of him then, so person with the hat and mask right
Yeah, yeah.
There you go.
Weston.
And get ready to roll again.
I kicked it. I kicked the.
Matt. It's okay, buddy.
Take a bow. Take a bow.
Matt, we're gonna run out of prizes here. I'm
Listen,
gonna have to ask
all
you
right.
to do a little bit better.
Well, you're holding it in 2 different ways.
Oh, here,
Okay.
let's just,
Land it on its edge. There's 18. 18.
18.
Also, we only have 10 minutes left.
All right.
So
All right.
we should probably try and reach some kind of conclusion.
19. So way back.
Nobody quite in that seat, so let me do that again.
Where is it? Where is it? It's above me.
1.
1
Not 20.
Nice.
and,
No applause for that, just for death.
Okay, I'm in a bad spot. It's right there.
What is that thing?
This is you get a tri-beam and you can move them. See how?
Oh, okay,
I'm
okay.
making noise.
So making noise does draw it.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Doesn't-
we're just playing a horror game. This is just
Yeah.
horror Metroid,
I was
which is
totally
awesome. That's
thinking
not a
that.
complaint, by the way. It's
Yeah.
just coming to that conclusion.
Well, and with the way the music goes, and then like having the lulls, and then the heart racing, like it plays
Yeah.
exactly like a horror game with that.
Yeah.
Absolutely, because they want to lull you into that sense of security in order to do those jump scares, in order to get the maximum amount of your heart racing going into those. So absolutely.
And I think that makes sense with the not letting us be awesome at the beginning, because if we were awesome at the beginning, then we might resent the fact that we are no longer awesome
got it.
because we would have the moment of, oh gosh, if only I was more awesome.
Can you jump
then
into
I
that?
could
I have to get the floor the right
Yeah.
height. That's what I missed last time.
oh,
I could totally defeat this enemy if I only had, my magical plus 25 ME slaying laser sword kick move that I get from, I don't know, entering the Konami code in the floor of the weird room that I have.
Oh.
okay.
The floor is
Yep.
like
Yep.
floats or is buoyant, and then it. Okay, I gotcha.
Come this way, friend.
Yes, right this way.
That's actually the first puzzle that complicated we've seen. There we go.
Nice.
Hey! Thank you for the first applause for me not dying.
Oh, hey,
Don't
your
worry,
buddy-
it's coming.
I think they were preemptively applauding because they think this one's gonna get you.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, no.
Well, I think the big thing here, though, is do the people who love Metroid, have they fallen in love with the game, with what they've seen, and then are we bringing in a newer audience?
As far as from what the.
Is there enough stuff here to bring in that newer audience, newer generation, people who don't know what Metroid is,
For me, yes. I mean, I loved the Prime series, but I did kind of fall off after it, and this has reinvigorated. Ooh, ow!
Yeah.
Sort of my love for this franchise, which I've
Does it make you want to go back and play the old game?
maybe when I'm done.
Yeah.
And then I guess my question would be, do we think that being such it's not a departure, but it is different, right, in tone and pacing. Like even Jeff said, we were expecting something a little faster paced at the beginning, something that dumped you into more action. Do we think that if Dread is someone's first Metroid game, will they be interested in the same way as in older titles
Right.
that don't do that, right? Because it has to
Right.
go in both directions. Because every game in this franchise could be somebody's first instance of that franchise.
That looks cool.
Oh, you broke it.
There we go. Hey, in an hour we got a weapon,
Whoa!
which is actually so. I actually really like this because it's about at this point in the game where I'm like, I feel like I've done a lot of the tricks.
Okay.
And it instantly, like right at that correct moment, at least for me in my play style, it gives me a new trick. And now
Okay.
I'll be able to go back and explore, like it's even teaching me about the doors. Like you can now shoot the 3-beam door or whatever.
Yeah. Ratchet
Okay.
and Clank was one of the first games that I felt like the lead designer was sitting behind me, and as soon as he knew I was having enough fun and learned enough, he put a new trick in front of me to learn. And you don't notice it, but it feels really good when you think about it.
Yeah, it's one of those ones that when it's done right, it just feels very natural. And that's one of the best things about it is just being like, oh, well, of course the game would do it this way.
Matt, is this the room we started
This
in?
is
Yeah.
the room we started.
I was just gonna
Oh,
ask
that's
that.
awesome.
Yeah.
So we've got a natural
Now we go
loop
back through.
that
We see the
brings
map?
us right back to where we began.
Nice.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
And apparently there's at least air up here. I also, side note, really like the map. It colors in a lighter shade of blue for everything you've touched. So
Yeah.
like if I jump here and go back to the map,
Oh, yeah.
Is there an accessibility setting for that in terms of the colors that
I
they
don't know.
use or
Let's
patterns?
check.
I also wanted to check and see if there's an accessibility setting for the voice. I don't know about you all, but sometimes those super synthesized or modulated electronic voices can get a little grating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Particularly if you're listening to a long cutscene. So if we have one of those with Adam or the equivalent thereof later on, I'd kind of be interested to just have a different voice.
Yeah.
It's cool.
What time is it?
We're a
You got
couple
5,
minutes from
yeah.
the end.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, that's a shame
Is that
because those
final
kinds of
thoughts?
things, it seems the modern way is to have more options.
Yeah.
I say,
Accessibility.
we're 5 minutes from the end. Well, this seems like a good stopping point. Why don't we
Yeah.
do some last thoughts, give away a couple more.
Well, how many people we had? We had 5, right?
We have 5 giveaways so far.
I think we've done, yeah, let's see.
3 or 4.
People remember who got the things, but yeah,
Yeah.
let's do a couple more real quick while we.
Well, we got the 5 here.
Oh, we have
Yeah.
5 right?
Five.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
The five.
Good. Fine.
It was perfect.
Okay,
Matt
well,
there we
and I
go.
Exactly the
Don't
right
mess
number
with
of times. Good
perfection.
job. Yeah, right,
Don't
exactly.
mess with
Matt, yeah,
perfection.
right. Good, yeah.
You're very good at dying. Very good.
yeah. So, yeah, kind of looking at this, again, completely not what I thought it was going to be.
We purposely kept it away from Jeff
Yeah.
Yeah.
before this panel.
Well, I mean, that's always one of the fun things is, coming in completely blind, looking at it, saying, what can you look at it, from both a game player's perspective and a game designer's perspective.
Actually, with that in mind, I kind of want to go down with people with far more game design experience than me, just sort of like your favorite thing about it and your least favorite thing about it.
So let's start on that end.
Okay.
Let's make
Beyond
logo.
not having a place for me, which I kind of expect from Nintendo, I think my favorite thing is the map. That's super helpful for me. I get lost all the time in stream, in talking to someone. I'll be like thinking about where I need to go, and then someone in chat will cause me to go off on a long-winded tangent because they like doing that, and I love the map for that. Least favorite thing, that intro. Intro felt way too long, way too much text. I'm already going to be reading for a really long time. It feels like I have to read that information to relay it to chat. I don't just want to start my experience off by just skip.
Yeah.
Right? So that's probably where I sit with
All
it.
right. Kat?
Yeah, for me, the intro was insanely too long, and it gave you a lot of information that if you're not familiar with franchise and stuff, you're like, okay, there's a virus, I guess, and there's things happening. I like the puzzle portion of it, and I do like in the beginning, I felt like, oh, I could probably pass on this game, but probably, right around this 10% area, I'm like, okay, it's solidified at this percentage here. I'm like, okay, now this looks like a game that I would want to play. Like, I've seen enough of it at 10%, but I don't think that's actually a good thing, because you gotta get to 10%
Sure.
first.
Also, this is just 10% of Artaria. There's like
Yeah.
a ton of different zones. This is, so there's a
So,
bunch after this.
although I would play this game, I wouldn't have known that if I hadn't have gone through and watched this.
I'm going to Kobayashi Maru that. I'm not going to answer the direct question because I actually think more importantly, like you've heard snark here from time, but really user research and usability should be a love letter to the game. And so you're hearing the snark, but what's really interesting when you test with users who like these types of games and play these types of games, you really learn quickly that what I like and what I find fun can be very different from the people who actually love these types of games. I worked on something like Microsoft board games, like stocking stuff for $19.99. We did play tests where we actually quantitatively measured how people liked them. It was one of the top-rated games. I mean, Clippy was your buddy talking to you during the game. Like, how could anyone? But people who like board games with AI players and just like to jam on that for $15 at the store, they loved it. And so this is why you watch users, talk to users, have, watch podcasts
Yeah.
and streams and stuff.
Yeah.
And really talk to them directly and engage them, because you learn quickly that, the subjectiveness of what is fun.
Yeah. Jeff, we got 1 minute. Go.
Gotcha. And for me, actually, part of it is like, yeah, the intro was too long. Like, if for me, like, where I feel for the audience, it almost should have started with her waking up and she got pieces of her memory back as she hit each checkpoint, so that you'd be thrown right into the game and get going. And it would be, part of hitting different areas would be a reward of it while you're there. Start off with the low context, drive it in. But I really liked the chase scenes.
Yep.
Like, for me, they felt like they put a lot of polish into getting the chase scenes to feel frantic with the music and the
Yeah.
lighting and the sliding and the climbing, and that just looked fun.
Yeah.
Like, that looks like something that, with the new environments, with the weapons, with the way they're doing it, is going to be an enjoyable part of the game that I don't see a lot done with that level of polish.
Yeah.
And I appreciate the attention to detail, and that those levels were very well built to be able to execute on the idea of the game.
And as you get further in the game, and you get more toys, those areas get more complex. You get a cloaking device, you get a bunch of different things that sort of work, and they take energy and knock you off your health. There's a whole bunch of stuff. But anyway, thank you so much for coming to Design Club Live. We have one more panel, I believe, on Saturday, on the 11th. We're doing Extra Breakfast, live and animated. We'll have David Hueso, one of our artists from Spain, who will be here as well, drawing what we talk about. We'll be talking about gaming and tech news that day. Please come by and hang out. That'll be Q&A time and a bunch of other stuff there. So if you're around on Saturday, please come check that out.
We also have posters and stickers to give out to everybody. So yeah, so make sure to hit up the people over here and get some posters and stickers before you leave. And
Yeah.
then the people that did win prizes come up to the podium, and we will make sure that you guys get something as well.
And we'll be hanging out outside for like 15 or so if you want to come say hi or whatever.
Have a good PAX, everybody.
Thank you, everybody.